Welcome to Lipstick and Legacy, a podcast where your story matters and your journey has purpose. Together, we lift and inspire our communities one story at a time. Welcome, Cindy.
Hi, Juliet. So good to be here with you.
Thank you. I have Cindy Jensen, and today we will be talking about helping children discover confidence, character, and compassion. Cindy, you are a longtime Nevadan.
Yeah.
Can you tell me a little bit about where you're from, your history, briefly?
Yes. I'm actually a native, born and raised here in Las Vegas, and I am the oldest of 7 siblings, which has really shaped me a lot because as the oldest of 7, when I was in high school, my dad left and my mom became a single mom, and so I kind of became a second mom. And so my siblings matter the world to me. And all of us live here in Las Vegas as well. So we're a really close family. But I remember my mom talking about my own siblings' education, and she had concerns about some of them really struggled academically. Mm-hmm. And just, it really influenced me how she would be upset about some teachers who didn't help my siblings, and some who, no matter what, they felt accomplished and successful and like they really mattered. And that was a big influence on me, even when starting the school, just that the difference that a caring teacher and a caring atmosphere can make for children.
Okay, so take me back, people who don't know you. What do you do now? Like, what is your job? What is your life like right now?
So in 2007, my sister-in-law, Becky Jensen, and I started a nonprofit private school called Journey Education. And at the time, we had 12 students. And actually, when we started it, it wasn't nonprofit for the first few years because we were in a house. I had moved out of my one house into another house, but kept that, and we just turned it into like a schoolhouse. And the entire house was a school, and we had between 12 and 15 kids in there and a couple of teachers. And so the students were registered as homeschoolers, and our business license were tutors. And we did that for several years, and just kind of word of mouth, people kept coming to us. And we ended up having a grandfather came with his grandson, which he had him in so many different like big schools in Las Vegas, and it just never clicked. You know, he just couldn't find the right fit for him. Mm-hmm. So he brings him to Journey, and it was a really good atmosphere for this student. And come to find out, this individual was a philanthropist, and he said to me one day, why don't you become a nonprofit so my foundation can help you and give you money? And so we got our nonprofit status, and we ended up doing a board meeting. And still, Becky and I laugh about the times when we did the first board meeting because we didn't know what in the world we were doing. We'd never been at a board meeting. So we have this board meeting, and that individual wanted to be on the board with us. And we said, the first item of business is forming a committee to find an actual school so that we can be an actual school. And he said, well, do you know of us? Do you have a place? And I said, yes, there's been a place that I've been driving by, which is where we are now. And so he ended up buying the building and rents it to Journey, and really helped us out along the way. He's continued to be on the board, and we've just been able to thrive with, going forward.
So how many students do you have now?
Right now, so our school goes up to 90 students, and right now we're kind of low on enrollment, and so we're going through a little bit of a time. It's enrollment time. Mm-hmm. So going through a little bit of a time of trying to get that enrollment up. And when I brought it to my parents, we were amazed at how our parents just like came to the rescue. And so we're building up for next year. We're looking mm-hmm. forward. So right now we're just sitting at a 65.
That's still a really good amount of students. And does it go through 8th grade?
Yes,
K through 8?
K through 8.
Okay.
And the beautiful thing about it is it's a 12-to-1 ratio. And so it goes back to those grassroots, right? What I said, like every student is seen, every student matters. It truly is an individualized education for every student.
So education is always a huge topic politically and in our local governments and communities. I've been in the Clark County School District before professionally as a teacher, and now I substitute teach at a charter school. And I have seen just this change in education and in the students. It's very disheartening when I'm out there. Yeah. My kids have fared okay in the school district here, and I feel like I did. I feel like I had a good education. However, I'm seeing this really one-size-fits-all approach, right? So we put these kids in a classroom, and we say, sit at a desk and stay on your iPad for a certain amount of time a day. How do you customize a educational profile for a child?
Yes. So, and going to that, I agree that children can fare wherever. It really has to do with the teacher and the love the teacher has. But then it goes to the administrator and the love the administrator and the support the administrator has for those teachers. But we also have a problem with overcrowding, right? Like, how does a teacher really give every student what they need when there's over 30 kids in a classroom? Yes. So that's where our model of 12-to-1 is so important. But how we really individualize our education at Journey is we do a one-on-one personalized assessment of every child when they come through the door. So we know exactly where they are. And so we have something called leveled learning, and it's really different. I haven't seen it at any other school, and it's really what makes Journey stand out and be special. And this is where if we have K through 8 has math all at the same time. And so say I have a second grader who is very good in math and is working above that second grade level, they'll go up to the next level. But say I have a second grader who's really struggling and math is not their strong suit and they're just would be drowning in that curriculum, they'll go down a level. And everybody moves to where they need to go, so none of the students think anything of it. So we do that for math, our language arts, reading portion, and then writing. And at Journey, writing is a really important part of our academics, because when students have strong writing skills, they do very well going forward, is what we found. So starting at kindergarten, where they're starting to write their own sentences from their own thoughts, all the way up to 8th grade when they're writing essays and research papers.
So one thing I've noticed when I go into a kindergarten class, I used to teach kindergarten and first grade about 11 years ago. And one thing I've noticed is that they really lack the small motor skills now. I think kids are on screens at home. They're on screens or on an iPad or something at dinner, at a restaurant. They're not using the crayons that they used to use just sitting. They can't hardly hold a pencil. And then I find that we put them on a screen to put them at their grade level or find out where they are. And I was recently reading some research that said that the screens aren't helping. The iPads, the Chromebooks that we all had to get the money for these Chromebooks,
right.
They're not really helping. That children, when they work out a math problem, they actually need to write the math problem. They need to write the sentence. And I think that is kind of coming full circle. How do you feel about how education has moved to electronics and what that's like? I know you're not in other schools, but what do you think about that?
I completely agree. We at Journey, we still do cursive writing, and you don't see that. There's
Never.
A lot of research of using those fine motor skills and how that connection between the hand and the brain work. And I absolutely agree. Kids are just so used to having the electronics kind of run their brain, right? Instead of and it's engaging, and it's like a constant dopamine hit for our kids. So we do, of course, use electronics. We do, of course, have a technology portion of our class. But really, the kids are mostly, we have a lot of paper, pencil, a lot of book. We want them to not be looking at those screens all day.
Yeah, I think that's where we're really losing a lot of those kids, and we're losing a lot of those skills that I don't know that we can go back and capture them. I know COVID those COVID kids are, fifth, sixth grade now. And it's like, oh, you could tell the COVID kids because they really missed out on those basic sitting in a chair and holding a pencil and all of those things. Starting a school, I can only imagine, is daunting. It's a huge task. I've started a podcast and it has basically taken over my life. It is so much harder than I thought it would be. What were some of the mountains that you had to climb to start this school?
It's interesting you asked that because anytime you do anything, you don't know what you don't know. And I have had several people come to me and say, I want to start a school too. Will you help me? And I'm like, I don't even know how to tell you to help because it was like,
just come to my school.
It was like walking in the dark and saying, yes, this is the right thing. Okay, we'll do this. And just figuring everything out. And there's so many thousands of steps. And you figure out the one step to go back and recreate it. It's, but it is very daunting. I have to say, I did it with my sister-in-law, who is my dearest and best friend. And we have a lot of fun and we laugh a lot. And so there's not that loneliness or that holding all that on yourself all the time. I don't know that I could have done it. I know I couldn't have done it without her partnership.
Your mission focuses on character, confidence, and compassion. Why do you believe those things are just as important as academics?
That goes back to like the whole child, right?
Yes.
And it goes back to my experience with my own siblings who are just so near and dear to my heart. And even my own children when in their struggles. If we are just focusing on academics and we don't have individuals who, first of all, have character to do the right thing and compassion to look at humanity and connect with other people, and then the confidence to go out in the world, and that's our mission statement. The kids always say, we have character, confidence, and compassion. We are leaders and we are college bound. That's our little mission statement the kids say every day in opening exercises to remind them that it is important to have those are the foundation of living a good life and being a good person.
I love that. Every child learns differently. What are some signs parents can look for to better understand their children's learning styles? I think nowadays kids, we send them to school and we just hope the teacher handles it. And they come home and we're exhausted. Families are working, they have 2 jobs, they have several children, they're just trying to make ends meet. What are some things that parents can really look at to say, this is working for my child or it's not working? How can they advocate for their child? That was like 10 questions.
Communication is number one for advocating for your child, because I think for the most part, educators want to help. And so if a parent has a concern, to go and have an open conversation. Now, I know for me personally, I'm always so excited and open when a parent comes in. I feel like I'm a team with that parent. Like, this is not my job. This is not the teacher's job. This is not the parent's job. We are together. We're working together. We're helping each other. Now, I know there's situations in other academic settings where a parent will come and have concerns and be shut down. And this is where, when you are in a school with thousands of kids, it's harder. It's way harder, where when you're in a school small, of course your administration is there the whole entire time. So communication is key. And then also, as far as a parent, I think an example, being an example that education is important. Even if a parent doesn't have higher education, just showing, we're all going to read, let's read together, and having that not be a stressful time, but a time to really connect with your child. Or we're always listening to something that's uplifting, or we're setting aside time to do homework at this time, and just having those things set up in the child's life.
What do you feel like the public school district, we can talk about locally, but just generally, is really missing when it comes to helping kids with different learning styles?
I just think sometimes we are just so big in the Clark County School District. And And I think that's why I think we're 48th in the state.
It's been that way since I was in
United
college
States.
in the 2000.
Yes.
It's never, it
Yes.
rotates from
Yes.
like 49th to
Yes.
48th to 50th.
Yes.
Like,
It has.
it's like, ooh, we went up to 48. Woo, woo. Right?
Yes. And I think when you're so big, you have so many, so much bureaucracy that the kids get left behind, really. So I think that's the biggest problem with dealing with different learning styles. And again, when you have a lot of kids in the class, I've seen just beautiful teachers who work hard and do wonderful things, but if they have way too many kids and not enough support for their administration, it causes a problem.
It does. Is there one experience that you can share where you've seen the light turn on in a child's mind? That light comes back in their eyes, a switch was flipped, something that you saw that your process, that your ways of teaching and educating changed somebody's life?
Yeah, I have so many stories of kids that will have a moment that happens, and running a school can be very stressful. There's days that I'm exhausted and actually just feel so overwhelmed. And when those moments happen, I'm like, that's why I'm doing this. That is why I'm doing this. I had a child one time that the dad, I think he was in 5th grade, he came to us, and the dad said, he has cried every day ever since he's ever gone to school, on the way to school. Like, every day I take him and I have to give him a pep talk. And he brought him to us, and he was with us 5th through 8th, and he brought him to us, and that first year, right away, he was surrounded by the kids. Because we're small, the kids like really bring in the new kids. And at the end of that 5th grade year, he said, Miss Jensen, I used to cry every day when I went to school, and now I want to just cry because summer's here and I won't be able to come every day. And I'm that made my whole year.
It's worth it. That makes it worth it.
Yes, those are the things.
So besides running a school, which is huge, you're also a yoga instructor and sound bath practitioner. How did mindfulness become part of your life? We're definitely switching gears here.
Yes, I love that.
And I don't know how you do both. It sounds, do you have any time to even eat?
Well, the yoga and the sound bath is like my hobby that gives me peace, and I just love it. It's very calming. The school is go, right? So I got into yoga, and I started meditating every day as well. And I just saw it change my life in a way that my perspective was different. I had a calm, and I just loved it. So my sister-in-law and I went to, during COVID, I did an online yoga class, but doing online is just not the same. And then my sister-in-law, Cricket, and I went to Mexico and for 15 days and did our yoga training there. And just things come to you, right? Like I went to a sound bath and I really loved it. And then I have a really fun story about
what is a sound bath? I don't know what that is.
Okay, that's a good question. Most people probably don't. So I don't know if you've ever seen the sound bowls. They have they're called crystal singing bowls or sound bowls.
And they go like this?
Yes, and you take correct. And so they vibrate. So it's not like a melody or rhythm like normal music, but it's a vibration. And there's all kinds of sound instruments. And so a sound bath is where you basically just lay there and you are bathed in sound. And it is amazing.
So this doesn't include water?
It doesn't include water.
It's just a bath of sound.
Yes, of
literally.
course, like Cricket and I do retreats sometimes, and we do it at her home. She has this big, beautiful home with this beautiful space and a shala, and she has a pool, and we'll do floating sound baths. So we're, when the weather's nice, people will lay and float in the water, and then we'll play the sounds. But a sound bath's usually about an hour to an hour and 15 minutes, and where I do those instruments. And we do a little bit of movement and stretching as well if the person wants it. But people sleep so good afterwards. Like, people who have a hard time sleeping are always like, oh, I slept so good. I have one friend, and she wears a ring that tracks her sleep, and she's like, I've gotten over a 90% every time I come and do this. So it's very relaxing. It helps to calm the entire nervous system. So I just kind of got into that through way of meditation and yoga. And then with yoga, I've taught some classes here and there, but I work for an organization called Yoga Haven.
That was my next question
Yes.
about Yoga Haven.
Yes.
So tell me about that.
So they bring yoga to the underserved. We're in some Title I schools and just to places where people have experienced trauma. And so it's free to those people. And so they just work on grants. Of course, I'm so busy, I just do 1 day a week. I have my place that they've assigned me. I go 1 day a week, and it is absolutely beautiful. And then sometimes I'll go to a school, or if somebody needs somebody to sub. But.
So this is a program that serves underserved, or maybe somebody who's never had that engagement before with yoga, because that's kind of an extra thing. It's like, oh, I'm going to my yoga class. It's like, who has time and money for an extra thing?
Yes.
So the other day I was substituting, and it was raining outside, and I had to figure out what to do with the kids, and I had 8th graders, and that's always, challenging.
Yeah.
And I put on a yoga video in the cafeteria. And it was actually really interesting to watch the kids do it. At first, they thought it was so funny, some of the stuff. But it really did calm them. And I'm a very big advocate of exercise and mental, how it helps your mental health and everything. And I thought, why is this not incorporated? Why is this not incorporated in school? The meditation, if you did it 15 minutes or 20 minutes instead of the morning announcements even, how would that change the way that the kids act in school?
Yes.
Oftentimes we have kids come into school, we don't know what they're coming from, what their homes are like, if people are screaming, yelling, fighting. They just need their nervous system calmed down.
Absolutely. And to learn that skill of
it's a tool.
All you have to do is take some deep breaths, focus on that, let the thoughts float away. I mean, it's a skill that you can learn.
Do you incorporate that in your school?
I do it with our middle schoolers. And I haven't done it very much with the younger ones just because of my time,
And how do they respond to that? Like, how do you incorporate it? I'm just interested.
They love it. Probably every once in a while I'll go in and talk to them about it. We have a leadership portion of the day for those older kids. And so sometimes I'll bring the bowls in and, I'll let them see the different instruments, but I'll give them lessons about how the importance of your thoughts. And how that can direct, how you feel and what you do. And then, we'll do some meditation. Of course, they're middle schoolers, and sometimes they're goofy, and that's totally okay too.
I really struggle with the goofiness. I don't have a passion for middle school children. I do love the littles, but those kids, I come home and I'm like,
the more I do it though, the more they
respond.
Right, because you have to get over the goof. Anytime you do something for the first time, even as an adult, you're like, it was kind of weird. Oh, what is this?
Yes.
But the more I do it, the more they respond to it, and the better it gets.
Tell me about when you are in your class that you offer once a week. That's obviously you don't get paid for that. It's nonprofit. What is the response that you have from people that are engaging in this program? Like, do you ever have any feedback?
It is just so heartwarming. So for a while I was at, we lost our grant for it, but Yoga Haven did, but I was at the Nevada Department Housing Authority, and I did chair yoga with senior citizens.
Oh, I love that.
And the looks on their face at the end, because, we do the chair yoga, but I always end with meditation, and then people love the singing bowl, so I always bring out a sound bowl and do that. And just the looks on their face, they're so grateful. They love it so much. And the same with the one that I'm at now. It's always that, after you bring somebody out of the whole meditation, the Shavasana, they set up, and then I say, open your eyes. And just the looks on people's face is very satisfying to see. Like, they just took some time to have some peaceful, quiet moment, and I was able to facilitate that for them. And so it's always an honor for me.
That's beautiful. Through your work in education and wellness, what have children taught you about your life?
Oh my gosh, you can learn everything about children. Probably the biggest thing is to lighten up, laugh, and have fun, right? Like, I mean, that's a lesson children always can teach us. Children are more stressed now than ever before, and that really breaks my heart. And being a principal of a small school, one of the joys of being a small school is it's not scary to come to the principal's office, right? Like, I'll have little ones who will just like, "Hi, Miss Jensen," as they're walking by. I always keep my door open unless I'm having a meeting. But just having that safety there for them, it's probably one of the most heartwarming parts of my job.
So you provide safety, and they provide you with a perspective of just lighten up.
Mm-hmm.
It's not a big deal.
Yes.
Just
Yes.
carry on.
Yes. I mean, there's times they've come in trouble and we talk about it, but then we can laugh about it, you know?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
I feel like there's this idea that we have to be perfect all the time, and especially with children. And so that's actually a really nice perspective. What advice would you give someone who feels disconnected from their purpose? You talk a lot about purpose
Yes.
and their strengths, reconnecting with their strengths. What does that mean?
Yes, I think we get so busy, and I think this is where mindfulness and slowing down and yoga became so important in my life. We get so busy we forget to let our purpose just be that moment, or we feel unwanted or unneeded, and then it's hard to have a purpose.
Mm-hmm.
So the first thing is if we're too busy to slow down, and then if we feel unwanted or needed, it's to find people to reach out to, both for help and find people to reach out to that we can serve.
I love that. That's the next question. As someone who leads, teaches, and serves others, how do you personally stay grounded?
Every morning, because I exercise every day too, and that movement and mobility is, keeping that strength as we age is so important. And it's always been like the number one thing in my morning. But over the last few years, that's still an important component. But if I have no time, no matter what, I sit in quiet, focus on my breath, I meditate, I journal, I read something that's spiritual, enlightening for me. And that has kept me grounded. And when I don't do that, because I'm so busy, it becomes this cycle, and I know I better take a breath and make time to be in my calm and my quiet.
So I often tell women when they're really having a hard time is find somebody to serve.
Absolutely.
Whether it's a text, a hug, a ride for a child, find a way to serve. And find your peace, whether that's through prayer, meditation, breath work. I know people like to do that. But also find yourself a community. So I find I'm on all these Facebook pages, and there's always these kind of young moms. Like, I need friends. I don't know where to go. Does anybody want to meet at the park? And I always think, find a community. We're all craving that. How do you suggest that people find community, especially in a city like Las Vegas, where we have a lot of new people moving in? How do you feel like we can find community?
Yeah. Well, church is a huge place to find community, of course. But if you're not part of a church, within Journey, those families have community. We are fortunate we're unfortunate that we live in a time that we don't trust people as much, and so we're not as neighborly. And so all the kids running outside till the streetlights come on is not a thing anymore. But we are fortunate that we do have technology with meetups and opportunities to do things like that. But I think the best way, and you're right, serving and finding like-minded people is so important.
Yeah, I think that's really important. And you have to do something for that. I often think people are sitting at home shouting in their own walls, like, how do I find this? It's like, you have to do something. You have to open your door. You have to go meet your neighbor, talk to the other moms at school, whatever it is. We have to come out of our comfort zone.
Yes.
And so this year is my year of yes. And so I've said yes to like everything, even though I don't know what it is sometimes. And I've found so many wonderful women through that and opportunities by really stepping into that fear.
Yes.
And that uncomfort zone. Every time I'm ready to leave the house, I'm like, I don't want to go do this.
I'm the same. I'm the same.
Then I do.
Yes.
And I'm grateful that I did.
Yes, because you meet somebody you never would have met before, and you can have that connection. Because that's the second thing, is when you do go out of the house, you have to be open to introducing yourself and meeting someone. And it's uncomfortable. It's uncomfortable for you, for me. So when it's uncomfortable for anybody else, just remember that's what it is. It is uncomfortable.
It is. And you have to be comfortable in being uncomfortable.
There's so much growth in that.
There is, which nobody likes to do that. What is one thing you wish every child could grow up believing about themselves?
That they are important, that they matter, that there's a purpose for them to be here, that they their own personal mission and purpose is very unique, and living in this world, their life is all about finding that and doing that, and it doesn't have to be huge. You don't have to build a dynasty. You just have to connect with people.
So you had put out to me that you're hosting a retreat. Can you tell me a little bit about that, how people can find out about it? I'm going to do it, whether it's one day or another time when that's offered.
Yes.
And I will definitely be posting about that and giving some insight to how that changed me, because yoga is not my thing. I get really bored. And it's because I have that ADHD and I'm like, why am I sitting here breathing when I could be doing this? So I'm really excited to try that. Where can people find out information about that?
We are putting it on Instagram. We don't have a website.
What's it called?
Well, this is called a chakra retreat.
Okay.
Align and Awaken. That is a really good question, because we've kind of done this grassroots.
Yes. Which is the best way.
So the fun thing is, I have this big family, and two of my brothers have bought 40 acres out in Utah, and we have this dream to build a retreat center out there.
I'm coming.
I know.
Coming for you.
I'm so excited. But I mean, right now it's just raw land, right? And so where Cricket and I have my other sister-in-law that I do this little yoga business with, her and I have said we need to start doing these small retreats as we get ready, when that land gets ready. So it's kind of like this big dream we have. And the beautiful thing about when Cricket and I work with women on these retreats is it's about community and having fun, as well as learning some things about how to be more peaceful in your life. Like it is about building community, always about building community, because there's so much health in that, right? In feeling that. So
like we talked about, it's a great place to find a community. So I know that if I was going to put my money on anybody for a dream, it would definitely be you. After seeing what you've done with Journey Education, I remember you in that house, and I thought, how does she do that? And now I look at that school when I drive by, and it's beautiful, and you've built that with your sister-in-law, with the help. I know that, but it's from your heart and your work, and I really appreciate you building our community. This is my last question, and I ask everybody, what do you want your legacy to be?
I've listened to your other podcast, so I knew you were going to ask that question, and to me, the most important thing, this gets me emotional, darn it, is that when people are around me, they feel loved and seen. And, from my grandkids to my kids to my family and every student I work with, just that people feel loved and seen. I want them to always know how much I care, and it's so genuine. And I would like to always be remembered by that.
That was beautiful.
Thank you.
You have that gift. That's a gift that you have. I always feel that from you and your siblings, your sisters especially.
Thank you.
Thank you, Cindy, for coming on to Lipstick and Legacy. I appreciate your time.
Thank you so much.